let's see, I'm gonna go find an estimate.
Okay.
And I'm working on the live version of everything.
Right. Because I think the other issue we found was the couple that you did create on estimate, which I know is very rare. But those are the ones we can't go back and change the classes on. Remember, we've had 2 instances where, like, we had to change it. It wasn't the Oklahoma stuff, but 150 or 250 to 150. And there was like 2 of them, it wouldn't let us. And there's estimates tied to those 2. Remember, you thought you didn't have access to it? You're like, it's not letting me change it. I mean, it's been a while ago,
Was
but
it because there were tickets?
no, because I've changed them with tickets before. But just a note to remember.
We should have, I mean.
Mm-hmm. One of them, I think, was a 225 job. I would have it in a Teams message.
I wonder if I have any notes. I mean, even that original spreadsheet. Yeah, that was more just like initial testing, basically the tickets and stuff. And I don't think I got it to any, like invoicing, like I said.
Yeah.
Um, hmm. Okay. This will be a good example. Okay. So I'm going to give you a preview of what this looked like. Everything. There's like one bid. That's an item.
Mm-hmm.
It's the bid job labor is an item. Okay. So that's one line. And then there's a big group, big projects, and everything in that group are these inventory items that have already been pre-allocated. Okay. Now, this item right here, I'm going to show you what it's actually built like in the system. I mean, it's just like a standard. It has some standard items, and then you can add what you want to put in there. It's a group. And so it has all these standard items that you can choose from or choose to delete, use, whatever, but they're there if you need them. Okay, so that's in the standard big group. Tim's already went into this estimate and she's built it like she wants it to go over. So when you hit a create sales order, it brings these items over, the quantities, the amounts, like she's built the estimate, and
Mhm.
everything stays consistent that way. And she's built the estimate, and it's so everything, and when it comes over also, just so you know, that it's going to, it should pull in, like I said, all the customer data. So it's gonna pull in everything you see listed, it's going to copy it to the deal.
That all comes
That's
from the
what-
estimate.
That's what should happen.
Okay.
Your accounts payable, your email address, so that when you get it to invoice, it automatically can shoot to the right AP,
Mhm.
the payment terms, the tax, and then the customer type, the growth. So this right here, this customer type,
Mhm.
we have price books for customers. And then but then they have, if they've got just a standard customer with no preferred price book, then they have a gross margin set for that customer.
Okay. And then none of those custom fields get filled
But
out
none of
anymore.
None of that comes over, and none of that is automatic.
Oh.
You have to remember that. I have to remember that. I have to remember the salesperson when I create a job. I have to have a cheat sheet.
Like always, or because the way it's working now? Or you've always had to remember that?
No, I've never had to remember.
Oh, it's because it's the way it's happening now.
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to make sure you weren't like remembering this.
I'm a pretty good elephant, but I'm not that great at elephant anymore. I've got too much stuff in my head.
So it does normally come over, all this normally comes over
When you
from
do
an
it,
estimate. Yes, when
Mhm.
creating a sales order
Yeah.
from QuickBooks. Okay.
Okay, let's go. Under 748. I'm gonna close it.
So you're entering it in EOFS and here?
Well, yes, because it's a service job.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you mean?
You're entering it twice. Or it's not even asking you in EOFS for this
I'm
stuff.
not even using the create estimates now. I just go create a sales order now.
Yeah, okay.
And then I
So
go do my estimate. But this is what happens because the job I created, it doesn't have any of the customer
Mhm.
information. When I create that sales order and attach that job, it erases all the customer information from the estimate. Because the job I attached it to
Was blank.
was created
Yeah.
without any of that
Uh-huh.
to begin with.
Yeah.
That's some of the more basic problems.
Yeah.
I have to remember AP addresses. I mean, I do pretty well, but I mean, every multiple times a day, I'm having to go check and I have messed up. I can't.
Well,
tell
and
you
you're just
how
used
many
to it. Yeah.
times now I sent to the wrong customer.
Okay.
I
Again, you're used
Set
to
up.
this weird way that if you were to leave tomorrow, somebody would be like, Mhm. Yeah.
That you hate to lose somebody.
Yeah. Well, because isn't
To
Katie kind of starting on?
well,
Mm. Mm. Yeah. I agree.
okay. So, anyways, we're gonna go create an estimate. this is back to, we're just gonna try from the estimate,
Mhm.
and I'll show you what happens, because you've seen everything was allocated to that estimate, like it should have been.
And correct me if I'm wrong, it was doing simple estimates. It's just not doing these items that have multiple items per, okay. Or you haven't even
If
really
it's-
tested
if
that in
it's-
a while either.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I just gave
okay.
up pretty
Yeah,
much.
yeah.
But if it's a simple, if it's just an item that the line item, no big groups involved,
Right.
um, it does it fine. It would do it.
Okay.
Uh,
We'll have to just double check on that,
Yeah.
but I just wanted to make sure.
okay. What was that? 77488. Yeah, see. I'm just thinking, maybe this could test. Okay. So another thing, like whenever I would used to open jobs in QuickBooks, and I had preset ship twos, the preset ship twos, and I always, when I create a new ship to and attach it to a customer, I would always make sure that I looked up the county and I had that showing so that I know exactly what county that was. So now I got to stop
Switch
if I
lines.
don't know. And I know it's a location we've done before, like midstream. I do this a lot because we keep track of our ship twos a lot. And I get a lot of actual ship twos from the customer from their POs. And, you know, they're all over Louisiana. And so I can't remember every goddamn parish.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
All of that. So I
how
had
you
to go
actually say
stop. Yeah. Okay.
it was funny when we used to name wells over there. It'd be like Richard, and they're like, "No, it's Richard. No, it's fucking Richard. It's not Richard. It is Richard. Come on, people. We don't need to be fancy. You live in Louisiana."
One simple thing I would like for you to take note of
Mhm.
that pisses me off so bad is when you create a sales order,
Mhm.
either it brings you to the job, but that goddamn close button is in the same spot that add job is over here.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I can't tell you how many times a week I close the job right after I open because I
Yep.
just hit it. But this is the thing, and I wish this whole screen would be like over on this side. I mean, I don't know.
Like the slide out window.
Yeah, this is over here. I don't know. That's just. I've
So
gotten
move the
so
slide
used
out.
to
Well, I
it.
know, but
I've gotten so used to everything that I hate even. I mean, it was just some things at the beginning. It was like, God, I've been used to it. But yeah, that close button. Oh man, I get so because real. Now, here we go. This is what it looks like. Now, see, notice that one line that is an actual item
uh-huh.
that comes over. the group, none of the parts are here. And it's the group, how it brings in how the group is actually built,
Not the
what
subs.
is on the estimate.
So these are the line items, or these are each group?
Starting right here is the group
Okay.
that Midwest Texas,
Mhm.
and that's how the group is built in the item list.
Uh-huh.
This is how it's built. And the estimate that have been edited. Here starts the big group,
Mm-hmm.
and then here's all the parts.
So that's on that previous page. It should have said $42,000, but it's only showing 9,000.
That's correct.
So it's missing.
All the
Yeah.
it replaced it. It just grabbed the item
Mm-hmm.
and it built it like it's in the system. It did not take the information from the estimate and actually duplicate it to the sales order. Anything else can give you to?
No, I think no, that makes sense to me.
Do you want me to leave this test here?
If it doesn't mess you up.
No.
Yeah. Okay.
No. I wanted to show you. Trying to think of. I haven't used the estimates in so long. I was going to show you how, whenever I had noticed that the way I guess it's the way I'm doing it now. Just don't know. Where it just didn't bring anything in of the customer. I mean, absolutely nothing, not even the bill to. It was crazy. I was like, I don't know what's happening.
So then once you finally get, and I'm sure I'm missing steps, but I'm jumping forward. Once you get all this done, okay, now you're ready to close it in EOFS. You hit that button. Does it actually close it in QuickBooks? Or what?
Let's talk about, that's a good question. Let's talk about open, and I just kind of maybe want to work through the step. Um, So when first of all, I usually have like, I do my spreadsheet, so I'll get like a group of jobs, and I'll show you an example, like I did this last week. Conscious. They'll send me a list of jobs and say I need to close all these.
Oh, yes, I do remember. Okay, yes.
So I will pull a book, a spreadsheet, all these jobs. Um, first thing I have to do, and I know the time thing is an issue. So the first thing I have to do, sometimes I have to insert a column here, and I have to have it tell me if this, what day of the week it is. Number one, I want to know if it's a weekday or a weekend
Oh, okay.
for double time on the weekend, because it's not calculating that at all. So I know y'all probably have that. But that's an issue.
I don't remember hearing that, but I'm not saying that they haven't. I thought and I mean, again,
I know it's a time thing, and I know this is out of the time and material job. I mean, they got a 12-hour day. It's 8 hours regular, everything over.
yeah. I know that, well, so JJ messed that up. I mean, just 100% honest. He said anything 8 to 5 is regular. And that's why it's 9 hours. Well, that's not true. He messed that up.
Because of the
Work day with no lunch, yeah. So I do know that's an issue, and that is on the list.
sure.
This weekend, weekday, I don't remember hearing about that, but
No, that's just something I have to manipulate today, because that's not fixed.
Oh, but once that gets fixed. Yeah. Okay. So
But I don't believe it's even calculated. All overtime.
okay. So basically 8 to 5 is regular pay capped at 8 hours. And then obviously anything before or after those hours are overtime. And if they work all 9 of those regular hours, one of those is overtime. Yeah. And then
what I would like the rate sheet to say is this: eliminate all of this logic that you have to build first 8.
Oh yeah. Even if it's before 8 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't get, it's not overtime if they work at midnight?
No. Just saying.
Oh.
No. Saying the rare T&M jobs where they're starting at 5 in the morning, because they leave the house and drive to Louisiana. Well, they're probably going to put in a 13-hour day.
Yeah. Okay.
And so a lot of times it's just the first 8, but no, I'm not saying that's something that, it's just a way to look at it.
Well, is there and I'm sure the answer is no, because there's nothing standard here, but is there a?
So yeah, we probably need to do the whole logic.
Well, now that you probably haven't had a chance to look at it. But now, when you create a sales order, T&M, bid job, and day rate are there. Are there any standards that we can say, listen, every T&M is the first 8 hours? Doesn't matter what hours of the day it is. Or is that not is there no standard?
Yes, it just depends on what group it is.
Yeah. So I was thinking if we could tie it to the job type when you create the sales order, it would.
Basically, it has to be built into your rate sheet in order to say that. But I mean, a lot of the times that the majority of my jobs, I mean, Brandon's the only people that usually get, 24-hour.
Yeah.
Day rate usually.
Yeah.
Or the G type billing.
Yeah.
But but I have to do that day thing.
Okay.
Just because they do work a lot of weekends.
And they get overtime on weekend. So all weekends for midstream are overtime.
Well, that's what our rate sheet says.
Okay. But even if they haven't worked all week and they're only working Saturday and Sunday and they only get 20 hours, it's overtime.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And
the customer gets billed the overtime. I'm not saying if they do.
No. I'm saying, yeah. Payroll is different than billing. Yes. 100%. And that's one thing we talked about, like with Lisa's stuff versus your stuff, is, that the mess up in the system now, that doesn't affect Lisa. Total hours is total hours. This is only billing mess up.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
Yeah, because her total hours are completely different than your total hours. Yeah.
She figures her payroll's paid differently, what that
Yeah.
customer is actually charged.
Yeah.
So a lot of I gotta do that a lot of times for them. And then I have to put in this regular, I have to insert 2 more columns over here for regular and overtime, and then I just figure what is regular.
Yeah.
8.
Basically 9 equals 8. Yeah.
So, I do that. On Brandon's, I gotta double check all of his counties with EOG because they're sticklers. So I have to do like a VLOOKUP and double check all of these, because they're never right. You know, the customer or the service guy, he might say Lee and it might be Eddie, but they might be right next to each other,
Right, right.
so you can't really fault them.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I have, BHE and EOG that I have actual asset lists.
I wonder if that's something we could, because they type in the MRC number.
Yeah,
Tie
they
the
type it in right.
It ties the county to it.
Mhm.
That would be nice.
So I have that, and it stays pretty updated for BHE and EOG most of the time. Now, I don't have like all of their, I think like Tracy takes care of what they do, what Brandon does. And then sometimes they go work for Mark Whitley, which Mark Whitley is on he's the one that bought all of the new compressors from us that we package for him. So he has a whole different area and he has a whole different list of assets, and I can't get his assets from him for some reason. But
they're all called MRC too? Oh.
They're mostly MRBs.
Oh.
But I do have a good MRC list that the bulk of the EOG work is done on.
Mm-hmm.
So that's good. And that's a great idea to think about maybe implementing and being able to upload our.
I was gonna look too, because I remember, and I know it's there. I just don't remember how it's but remember how Brandon had asked for a location tab, and you're like, why do we need a location tab? It's already there, but he wanted it like down below. Do you remember that? In EOFS, like if you actually look at a ticket. So, of course, I chose the detail ticket. So now if you go, okay, so right there, location, lease, unit number. And then if you scroll down, there should be under like, that was maybe right there under details. Oh, unit number. He had them add that unit number. See it right there? Like, I think it's mandatory, which is why that person just put 0.
Yeah, but it really needs to be tied to this right here.
Right.
So that the ticket header shows the right county.
Right, absolutely. I was just saying if we can make that, like the MRC number, and then if the unit number, whatever was different, then they could type that below in that one spot.
Yes. Yeah, because that could be the case in some instances. And I know that when we were doing this kind of whole billing revamp with our truck,
it was a mandate on that they went out to like all of our customers and tried to get asset lists and names and GPS coordinates for the customers' assets to load in their system that they had. So that was a good resource for us, but it's a lot of work.
They
And
had
trying to get
Oh, I bet. Corey had talked about, and I mean, it's a good idea, but you know, it's not something we could put on somebody else's unit, but like basically a QR code, you know, but it could be one of those things where, and again, I'm not that smart, but the guys have a QR code and it's a new one, or like as we're starting this, they scan it one time and it's our internal QR code. But once they scan it one time, like we
I
have
can go back and
mhm,
scan it and there's your
everything
data.
right there.
Sure.
For stuff that's like hard to get. That way we can have like our own internal thing.
Yeah, you would have to get
I don't know.
permission.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't know how that works, but
Okay, so back to this. So anyways, I got my spreadsheet and then I got, and I started billing and I just start at the top and go to the job. Then I go over here to EOFS and I pull up my first job I'm going to invoice. And wish that this would automatically just do.
JJ said the same thing, so I think we need to just get that added. JJ's like, why doesn't it default to a higher number?
Yeah,
so-
it needs to. So I'm constantly. So. So I have to put I put the people together. Now, I don't know if any of what I do, the steps I do, I don't think it even matters. Ideally, what I would want to do is how I put the people in order here
Mhm.
is how I want the tickets in order.
Oh, like when you do the PDF print?
And all the tickets.
So,
And so I'm gonna do that and I'm gonna export this and I'll show you. It's just a work that drives me nuts. It's not, I mean, I don't know. I don't have time to go to print everybody's ticket individually.
I was gonna say it'd be nice for like EOG where you have to do each guy. You can extract. Mhm.
So then I put it in order by Dakota, Evan,
Mhm.
Erwin, and Venable. And so here's
First one's Evan.
Evan. Oh, here's Robert. So it's putting it in order by date.
Okay.
It's what I can decipher. The first day that worked on there was the 8th. So it puts it in order by date, even though I put it in order by service.
So just match the PDF print to the ticket list.
How it's,
Mhm.
how it's
Sorted.
preferred sorted, would be nice. I mean, I think. Well, I know, but. Yeah. We created this whole type of scenario and their whole systems. Whenever a job was complete, the customer or the service manager reviewed all the tickets. He would say, ready for billing,
Mhm.
and the status would go to ready to bill. So every day, my billers would come in and report. They would see all the jobs that were ready for billing that day. They never had to go wait for somebody to tell you,
Or wait for an email.
or wait for an email, or send out like once a week, I'd send out a manager's report of all the jobs that were open
Mhm.
and every status showing them, okay,
all the jobs that were out there and the aging of
Mhm.
them. And that way they could manage their WIP.
Yeah.
And, that's all that was sent out. And I didn't have to keep track of emails and, them send me stupid list,
Yeah.
half-ass list for bringing. This is Sam's. I got a bill. I got a bill of these. It's like, you go tell it
Yeah.
that your job is ready
Yeah.
to bill.
Yeah.
And I'll run a report every day and I will work,
Do your list.
just
Okay.
through
So,
the
but
list.
so ideally then it would be on this, like in the sales order screen. There would be a button. They would not close their sales
Yeah.
order. Well, basically it'd be like their version of closing their sales order, right?
Mhm.
And then like once they close their sales order, but into billing, then you would know to actually hit the close button at the top and go from there. So on
And,
the
and I mean, if you can run a report that gave all the statuses of
Mhm.
the jobs that are out there,
Mhm.
so that out of EOFS, I mean, the only thing I can run out of QuickBooks is a open sales order report. And we do lots of partials and stuff like that. That that would get a little dicey with jobs because they wouldn't want to push it to ready to billing if they just wanted to do a partial and we're still working on it. Midstream
Well,
does
but
that.
I mean, surely we could come up with
Some sort of,
different,
yeah.
like ready for billing, partial. I mean, different statuses, open, that's
Yeah.
basically what it'd be, right? The status of that sales order.
Yeah, I don't know, that's something,
Like
that's
for
something
wording,
we
we'll
need
have
to
to,
talk about it, because that's the caveat,
yeah,
because I have a lot of partial jobs.
but I mean, and then it would be nice if it was partial. There's,
They can continue working on
Yeah.
that job
hmm
and continue to do tickets.
But those 56 tickets were marked that they were already billed.
Yeah, because right now, what I'm gonna do, my next step is I'm going to go update QuickBooks.
hmm
Guys, and you can see what that looks like. I don't use that a lot either. So keep in mind that I look at these jobs. And I know they're looking at the dashboards and stuff. And I'm going to show you what I'm looking at and what I'm building here, because I think if I can get this in a dashboard, I don't have to do this.
Right.
Or I don't have to do it as much.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, only like certain jobs where I got to get in the weeds.
Yeah. Something's not right.
Yeah.
And another thing, I hope I'm not jumping around, but the other thing was, and you brought up like Brandon gives you 20 sales orders at one time. You can technically only close one at a time. And you asked at one point, I thought like to be able to select multiple sales orders and close them.
Yeah. That would be great. Because look, I have all of these. I've had this for 2
Oh my
months.
God.
and Jack.
But you have to go in and close each one
Yeah,
individually.
and then I have to make sure, okay, did they get closed in QuickBooks? Did they get, um, or did you never tell me to close in QuickBooks? And so it's still open. And so I gotta go.
Yeah.
Do all that. These are new because I look at things in different ways. So I look at this and I look at the sales order and I say, this job, and then I have a total for the job. 16 hours, 8 overtime, 418 mileage. And we'll just pretend that, we'll just pretend right here, this is gonna be T&M. So let's go look at this job. Printed the ticket. I updated the ticket. And I usually just close it if I know it's closed. I'm not gonna close that one.
Yeah, I think
This is what it looks like.
What it does,
does each ticket.
each ticket, each boy on each day. This is stupid. That doesn't help me one bit
Yeah.
because it didn't bring in my item, my per diem item.
Oh, customer on.
I mean, it's not even built, I can't bill out that line at all, so it gets deleted automatically.
So you can't even type right there 50.
No. I mean, it didn't bring it in as an item. It just put the line with the description.
Mm-hmm.
I can't put a rate in, so that gets deleted. What happens is that I do one line, let's just say it was 40. I don't know what it was. All the regular time was 40, and then I had 13 hours, and then I do this.
Okay, so the
Okay.
item should read field service, whatever,
My wish,
regular.
my
Okay.
wish is that it lumps all the regular.
I don't know that it has any way of figuring the overtime. Well, it wouldn't be right now, but in the future,
Right.
a wish
Mhm.
is that it would bring in the
Overtime.
total overtime.
Mhm.
That's my wish.
I have wishes too. Oh, I have lots of wishes.
I know.
Nobody-
But, I mean,
They never get granted.
Wishes about this.
They never get granted, but that's okay.
and then, okay, but so you have those?
Lindsay decided to come to work
Oh,
today.
he knew. I told him Friday when I saw him. I said, "We'll see you on Monday, not lucky 2 times in a week."
Right?
Good.
Okay, so those would be field service, regular field service overtime, or whatever the
Mhm.
listed service rate is.
Yeah.
Item for per diem. What do you want in that column?
The per diem item, it would be this. So you got heavy maintenance per diem, you got midstream per diem, you got field per diem. And
So it just needs to match the department and then the per diem.
there is a field per diem, but there's just additional charges per diem. But.
And then when you brought that over, it should fill that in.
We had separate midstream and heavy maintenance because they were different sometimes. But you got additional charges for field, then you got heavy maintenance and midstream separate per diems. But it doesn't even select, it doesn't even try to select.
Pair it
An
with something. Yeah.
It just puts a data line in.
hmm
Yeah, so that's ideally
Okay.
what I like to see.
And is the truck stuff coming over, correct? Or are you having to do
Truck
stuff?
doesn't come over.
Oh, this is not separate. This is separate.
This
These,
is field. Oh,
I'm
the
sorry.
truck.
the
Oh,
mileage.
you meant
Oh, I'm sorry. No.
trucking. Now, it does what you want it to
Good.
do. That's great. Yeah. No, it does what you want it to do.
Okay.
And like,
I know like midstream, because they have the truck with tools and the air
Mhm.
compressors, it doesn't total those. So it's like if if 5 guys have 5 air compressors, it's gonna bring 5 lines of air.
Okay. So the additional
Ouch.
or what additional expenses.
your birthday. Let me show you another spreadsheet of what I have to do. These are all things that I'm showing you because I would like to see on a dashboard
Mhm.
where I don't have to do this.
Yes.
And I think that's y'all's goal. So I
Yes.
think we're
on the same page
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
A lot of, and also to add to this, I have to change my spreadsheet up. I'll, based on how I have to bill the customer. Like I
Mhm.
have jobs, I have weekly jobs like for Brazos that I have to split by location. Kind of like EOG, I have to split by county,
Right.
you know? So I have to change up the way I look at the job, and I got a total by location. I mean, it would be nice to have the options of just in the desk, you know, in a dashboard to change those options of how you see
Views.
the views of whatever. So, so yeah, I would bill this location out on Brazos and then an invoice for this. So I'd have two invoices for one job,
Okay.
basically. Um, I was gonna show you something that. So, when I do the extreme spreadsheet, I have to do like I have to build two pivot tables for all
Additional
the
expenses.
expense. Yes, all the addition, just so the problem that I have and why it's such a pain in the ass is because you can't just run a simple pivot table from the original um this original spreadsheet because they're not all under one filter. If they are all in one column, and I know that's
Oh,
not
I see. There's like
possible.
1, 2 of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I basically have to go over here and I have to do this. Make sure I just so you understand. I have to say, okay, the sales order, and then I want to tell me the service man and they. Then one by one, I gotta go through all the expenses, quantity, and I have to build basically another table
For that next expense.
and then add the next expense to that table. I have to go over here like this and I gotta build this table and I gotta take all, and then I just sort out all the blanks, take out all the blanks. And so that I can get a tally easily.
Mhm.
So on a dashboard, it'd be nice. This job has 50 hours of air compressor.
Yeah.
Or 5 days of air compressor and 50 hours of truck of tools, you
Yeah.
know.
Mhm.
Mm.
So have y'all talked about like a workflow at all? For it? So I mean, basically, what Jake and I talked about for the workflow is that there's somewhere just like sent to account, like typically like under the payroll section, like we have now. There's a billing section,
Mhm.
and it's they're able to put a sales order in a to be billed status. And then,
So you can come up with the names, because I have it started for more
oh,
professional naming
Okay.
versus
Okay.
that I wrote down.
no, that's perfect, because so that then Kim can say, it's a work of, she's in the process of billing.
Yes.
And then it's after manager's approval, and then it goes to the then it's customer portal or email the customer, that, whatever that status looks like, where, I want a bunch of different statuses where if you were gone, we could know, did she email it? Then there'd be somewhere in the thing too, where it has, if it's a portal upload or if it's email, like, so if it's there's a checkbox, if there's a portal, then it goes to the portal upload, where then Katie can go in and she can upload all of those, and then she pushes them to fulfilled or whatever,
So-
whatever it may be.
Kind of what we talked about, and it wasn't that in depth, so you'll have to give me like all yours. So basically there's two statuses right now, open and close.
Yeah.
So basically adding more. So like
So-
Kim saying she's getting like Sam's printing off stuff and highlighting what he wants her to fill, where he can go in here and mark ready for billing.
Yeah.
She knows, and
I
then
can run a report every
Yeah,
month.
there's-
Can just see
Yeah.
what
she's
they got
wrong.
to fill.
and then like for partials. So they can mark it as partials, the tickets that she billed. You can still see them, but they already show billed, so they won't when she does another
Mhm.
partial, not
Well, 'cause-
rebuild. So
Mhm.
whatever other ones,
Yeah, and I think that'll also help with the,
yeah.
that thing. But 99% of the time, they did not tell you.
Right.
They're just,
Well, I'm so
or
behind,
in
I
their-
can't even get rid of it.
or in their head, they told you, but realistically, it's like,
Yeah.
so yeah, just somewhere where they can not really communicate, but
Yeah.
communicate through the
So what were some of the ones you
statuses.
said? Ready for billing,
Ready for
partial,
billing,
open, close, manager approval.
oh, ready
So
for
it's-
billing, manager approval.
But let me ask you this. So does that mean that we're gonna have to go back and forth and change the status? I mean,
It'll be
that's-
just like the ticket. So once they're done with it,
it's not an automatic, I mean, there should be some automation as far as systematically it would change the status.
well, yeah, I mean, just like if once you're done billing it, you're gonna have to say, it's done. Because I mean, how
Mhm.
else are you, like, then you have to push it, but when you push save and send or save in
But
advance.
But after that, you're talking about manager approval and customer approval and
Well, no, so then once the manager approves it, it gets moved from if they
then it's a,
when yeah
then I
once
track it.
once
You-
the manager
like
approves
this.
it, it either goes to the send to customer, and from there would need something that is, how is it sent? Is this a portal? Because then that's a whole other step of it
Mhm.
needs to go to the
So would that be more of a checkbox portal and?
yeah because then if there's a portal, because then it'll have to go through
It gets invoiced through like the customers.
you have to
a
you have to
different-
manually log in.
Doesn't get emailed to them. It gets submitted electronically.
Okay, so it would be portal, and what would be the other checkbox option?
Portal and sent or emails. Yeah, probably emails.
Okay, so the two checkboxes would be portal and email.
I would probably just do one checkbox though, if it's a port, like, it would probably be like if there's like a customer section, because I mean, it's gonna be the same. It's customer driven. So if it's,
So would that be something that we would want to set up when you create the sales order? Make it a box if it's a portal customer, or
That would be, I mean,
yeah,
would that be
it would
better?
have to be some sort of automatic thing, like how the customers,
like
the
in the
customer
access.
is set up in the customer center.
Mhm.
It needs to be a setting there somewhere that we can add
That's just a checkbox of
that
has portal.
when the customer's set up, we know it's open invoice and that's the
Yeah.
portal. And you know,
So it's really a checkbox and maybe a drop down too. So if it's portal and then open invoice, Ariba, I don't know what all the options are. That's just, if there's a new person, they know
But
where.
when you create the sales order,
No, it will be when it'd be in the customer center. It lives in the customer center because
it lives with the main customer set.
yeah,
okay.
it's not, it won't change.
So if
And
it's
so
already there, it should just come over with every
every-
customer.
Yeah. It's not in QuickBooks, so
Once
we're
we
gonna have
get
to
that
create
to work.
something,
Kind of like the price book and everything else there.
Yeah.
The
it
sales
come
guy and
We're
all of
trying to
that.
think big picture. If Kim's in the middle of the month and she gets hit by a bus, can we go in and figure out where she
she's
left
at.
off?
Yeah.
That's like the main
Yeah.
goal of this workflow.
Yeah,
is,
instead of going to my email and digging through all my
Yeah,
emails. that I
this
have
one
to
hasn't
do.
been like it's ready. It's already approved for invoicing or it's approved to send. Now we just need to go in and then if she's not uploading all the invoices Katie is, then Katie can go into her status and upload those, and she'll probably will have to manually push them along. But I mean, you have to go into all the invoices anyways to import them.
But now I have to go through all the invoices and I gotta go through and change statuses. So when I send it to customer here, say, I'm waiting on customer approval. Maybe I need a customer approval prior to invoicing. To get coding or whatever. Okay, now I gotta change status over here to customer, sent to customer approval or
Yeah, but I
something
mean, I
like
wonder
that,
if we
or-
can instead of having to go into it, if it's more of a checkbox and you if there's multiples in that status, like
change multiple like a
multiple
mass
yeah,
status change.
Yeah.
just on
We talked about
those
that
mass
with the
close.
mass close. So
Yeah.
that's-
where there's checkbox over the side and you can instead of having to go into all of that would because would still want all the statuses to be updated, but to your point, to go into them and hit it and so yeah, if there was a checkbox.
Because
But
now
that would
when
be the only being after the the manager wouldn't have access to that mass approval
Right.
because
it was just be me cleaning up
Yeah.
my business and
Right.
my dashboard.
that would be an access thing.
Yeah. Well, like now I just close it. When,
Yeah.
when I did all that and updated the ticket and I printed, did my PDF and I just close it because if all the time has been approved.
Right. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
the one question I
This has to
still
go-
have.
Yeah. If it's sent to accounting and you close it, what happens? Yeah. No, I asked.
I mean, I've done it and I haven't done it and
Yeah.
nobody screams. So I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I mean, Lisa's still gonna see it sent to accounting.
Somebody's here, 'cause I did
Now,
ask her.
I don't close it if it says submitted to manager. But if they do say, if there's just 2 tickets that say sent to accounting and the rest of them have been entered in payroll, I can just close the job. I mean, if they told me to bill it and it's done,
Mhm.
I'm like closing it. If you're not done, sorry.
Oh, so when you close it here though, so when you hit update, that's where it went to the screen where we pick what we want to change. You close it, it basically locks it here, but it doesn't actually close it in. It doesn't
Well,
do anything.
No.
And it can't because the job has to be open real.
Right. So it just basically locks guys from creating any more tickets.
What I would like to see is that update sales order button not go away when you hit close. Because sometimes, I mean,
Where was that at?
sometimes I'll bill something and they're like, oh, that's T&M. So I want to go back here and I want to update and redo my stuff. And I can't because I've already closed it. And
Oh, and then it's locked.
yeah, and it's
So
locked.
you can't unlock it. So we need to be able to unclose.
Well, I think
just don't
we have it
Take
where
away that option if it's
admin-
closed.
an admin can
I don't think
No.
so, because we looked at that and
No,
I think
there
JJ told me
has
that
to
same
be
thing.
a
And I
way.
was like, no.
Cody, sorry,
Because even when,
he asked Corey, he said, no.
yeah, and I think even when something's entered in payroll, like the other day, Keith goes, hey, I want to change this guy's ticket. And so can you just leave it, I'll start over? And I go, no, you already sent it through. It was like a week old. I'm like, no, it's entered in payroll. He goes, well, just delete it. And I'm like, you can't even delete, an admin can't even delete.
Migrate it?
You can't, not once it's entered in payroll.
Oh, you can?
I don't think so.
I
thought we made it-
it.
I thought Brad made it where it never there's always the admin can unlock stuff.
Interesting. Because I find a lot of jobs, especially, Brandon, COG, those guys charge time on the wrong weekly job. And I'm like, move these tickets.
So
I don't know if it's so. So I don't know. But I think after.
okay, so you can migrate it, but you cannot delete it. So like if it was a sales order
Right.
ticket and he goes, hey, I don't want to bill this customer. I want this to be Encore in direct time. This
Oh,
guy,
totally different.
yeah, this guy can't create a new one because this one never can be deleted. So he would have double time.
And he's been paid for it.
Uh-huh.
Sure, and it makes sense. It isn't.
Well, and this wasn't a payroll changeover. So it'd be like last week it happened and we don't lock them until, or like Lisa doesn't pay him till Monday. So it still could have had time to be changed. It just was something we couldn't change. I don't remember exactly what it was. Keith was like, oh, well, I'll just blame it on Brandon. I go, oh, that's what I would do too. But it was something like that. But like, he's like, no, just delete it. I'll have him start over. And like, as an admin, you can't even delete it. Well, and that was the case with that trucking ticket. I don't remember what it was, but there was something with the trucking ticket. And you were like, I just sent it through. And then at that point, we couldn't do anything.
I think I just edited
Something
I
else.
mean, nobody.
Yeah.
Because I have to disable them. And
Yeah.
You were
I
talking
can't
about
even
that, about
upload those.
saving
I mean, those don't.
tickets.
Hmm.
About maybe closing sales order and crap on the tickets.
I basically just showed her what my steps when I go to close a job. So we covered that step and what I have to do. Any other ideas be great.
Basically,
I mean, I'd love for it to just go ahead and automatically
Grab them all.
make them and attach them to the sales order. And, I don't have to do them, but
Mhm.
a lot of times I have to have them separated or, special sorting or what. And that's the thing it doesn't do either. It doesn't sort them. I
And we
personally.
talked about that.
Which, yeah, I mean, you would think that they could, I don't know, with all the AI stuff, it's the same name on the ticket and
The only way it prints it is in date order. So you got,
surely they could change that.
it should, if we could do it in the old EOFS, they surely can figure it out here.
So when you sorted it on that ticket and did print to PDF, it stayed in that.
However I sorted it, that's how it printed it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have that on here. This one.
But was that what you're talking about? An automatic? Mhm.
Which I mean, if you have to do it I mean, obviously I'll have to do Sunday. Just on the easier ones where
Yeah.
you need the whole seller and just grab all the tickets. instead of-
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, that's time consuming.
Sorry, personally putting it in.
No, what other ideas?
I'm trying to think what you
Speak
told
up.
me.
And I wish Corey was in here because he asked me questions. I'm like, I'm not even answering.
We
that.
went over the estimate, how it doesn't work,
Just brings like the
creating
category
from estimate.
So
And showed her exactly what happens, and I left a test in there, so.
wasn't it? I said it to Kim earlier, but do you remember when we tried to change classes and it wouldn't let us. And you and I went in QuickBooks and all the ones that wouldn't let us change it because it was tied. Yeah. But all the ones that weren't tied to an estimate, we could update the class on. Yeah, that's what I thought. And I think that's why there was one the other day.
Because I think there has to be because the estimates at the top get selected, and I'm thinking that's why. Because I mean, the people who are making the estimates, they probably don't even understand all of the classes like we do.
But one of my biggest things is fixing some more basic stuff that is hard for me every day. You know, the customer information. I mean, it would just so. It
Yeah,
would be nice-
that code is.
It would be so nice if I didn't have to remember the salesman that I mess up all the time. That I'm not sending invoices to the wrong customer, you know?
But it was just dropping. That was the code that one guy
Yeah.
had written.
And I have
I
to,
didn't realize it wasn't fixed until you told me that the other day. I was
yeah, every time I have to go bill like a special preferred customer, I have to go put in a preferred rate on the, I have to fill that in before I update the sales order.
And that
'cause
was
you
that
can't do it
margin of
after.
35 thing.
Yeah, or
Yeah,
the
whatever.
AOG Cody after, you know,
Yeah.
yeah.
We did talk about like she's having to make counties on like some of the guys' tickets, like the MRC. you
Yeah.
know, And figuring out a way to import that MRC list when they enter that number and
Mhm.
brings that county with it.
a lot of secrets.
So I haven't, I mean, we usually keep pretty good updated unit lists on BHE and EOG. So it would be super helpful if we could somehow,
I mean, sure, that's under managers, would be able to- or do you get that?
oh, I have
You
to
re-
use it for
Well,
billing.
But who, do you get it from someone or just like Brand choose it? I guess who's responsible? You probably.
manager.
Okay. I just want to make sure that.
The manager or if I have a customer contact, you know, I will reach
Yeah.
out or whatever.
I just want them to, again, nothing that you're doing wrong or whatever, but it's simple thing. I
Yeah.
know like he's on board with pushing all this stuff onto the manager.
No,
So
I love
there
that idea.
is that's why I'm like, there's stuff that you're doing that we need to make sure they're doing.
And I would love for the manager to be able to open a job, but it's not simple enough for them to do it.
Well, because if
Because they will
if they
never,
do it and then it's it's halfway done in QuickBooks, then it's just gonna jack stuff up and it's gonna be a bunch of backtracking. I completely get that.
I think the big issue we run into, and it's more Lisa's side, but JJ was saying like give the managers access to open sales orders on the weekend. Totally get it.
Mhm.
They can't punch into it unless Lisa does a sync anyways. And so that will happen, like maybe you do it on Friday and she doesn't send sync. I don't know, but anyways. And they write all of their freaking notes in the note section on QuickBooks. And I tell them every day, if you're looking at QuickBooks, you need to make sure you're deleting that. Otherwise, I don't think you're looking at QuickBooks. But so they'll do that. They'll say, I worked on sales order 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It wasn't in here or whatever because they want to clock their time in. So, I mean, I think JJ's idea of letting them do it on the weekends is great, but it's still not
it's that
full.
think problem.
Yeah, it's not a
that-
full thing. Yeah.
Well, and the other problem is that admin falls out,
Yeah.
gets logged out and never stays logged in. So that
Has that happened in a while?
happens every
Every
single
Saturday night.
weekend.
So what I was thinking is, I wonder if we do it, have it run on Sunday night and then first thing Monday morning. Because
So every time it's doing the backup.
yeah, and it was just Saturday night, and that's like, so I mean, that's what I was saying. Like, what if we did it on Sunday night and then
Yeah.
Monday morning? It's just like a habit that like I log it in. It's
Yeah.
just on
Well, I mean,
Sunday
you do that
morning, and I'm
anyways.
like, yeah, because I know I didn't do it yesterday, and that's why
Well,
like
I
this
didn't.
morning when I which is great.
Yeah.
But,
okay.
um,
I didn't know you were still doing it. I guess you just haven't said it. So.
Oh, I
No,
was
she-
happy to call Courtney.
yes, probably 3 weeks.
Not this weekend, but the past
Teresa.
3. Cause I
Yeah.
can't get contact, but she doesn't have service and I don't wanna bother
Yeah.
her.
No, if I remember, like last weekend, I tried to remember, but I was like, people were going out to the house to work on
Yeah,
stuff.
no. It's
It's-
important that should be.
Yeah.
But until we have something.
Which is the whole thing, and that might be
working there,
something
yeah,
we
I know.
fix with Lisa, because realistically, QuickBooks time can be synced like EOFS, is that it's a continuous thing. The reason we don't do that is because if any time gets approved, it's gonna, in QuickBooks time, if any time gets approved on accident, whatever, it's gonna push into QuickBooks and Lisa isn't gonna. And so that's why we don't do that. But I feel like we could work with her of a way to do that, and then she maybe turns it on Monday morning if pay, or whatever. She has access to turn that auto run, because I mean, all it is a button. You just hit auto run and it's a checkbox. That's all it is. And so she could check that off when she's doing.
But
her
I'm
thing.
not even, I mean, we're just talking about syncing the jobs.
Yeah,
the
not
new
syncing it in
jobs, Not
QuickBooks.
syncing time.
So like if Kim opens
I
at,
don't care about the syncing of time when that happens.
if she opens a job at 4:59 on Friday, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay? It's in EOFS and it's in QuickBooks. It's
Right.
not in QuickBooks time.
Right, but that's
Oh.
what I'm talking about. No, that's what I'm talking about.
Okay.
But there's an auto sync, there's a QuickBooks time auto sync.
Oh.
That you hit the button and all of that.
Okay.
That's why I'm saying if
Yeah,
it's
Lisa wouldn't have to be bothered.
right.
Yeah.
But the issue is she would have to turn that off when she's approving time and all of that kind of stuff. But again, she's a checkbox. I think
It would be nice if she could just set it on the weekend, like obviously getting used to it, but set it on Friday. Turn it off on Monday morning.
Yeah, I mean it's there.
That way it's not just did it on the weekend.
The thing is the only issue is her log. She would have to be logged in. Her user, just like how admin would have to be logged in,
Mhm.
she would have to be logged in.
Because when she travels, who sings it? You. Under her login. Or y'all switch access.
I don't. I mean, it takes 2 seconds.
No, yeah, no, I know.
It's just, I have to let her know, like, hey, I'm taking it, because then
Mhm.
if she'll freak out that it's not working, like, I took it and I have to go redownload it.
Yeah. No, because we almost every Monday we get teams at like 7:00. Can I get
Oh,
a
I
quick
can't see.
seat, please?
I usually get a call every weekend from JC. I'm like, JC, I'm not even the phone.
I know.
You know, no, Sunday.
Yeah.
I'm not at home. And well, I'm trying to, I got called out. I was like, it'll be okay.
Yeah, like, just fucking.
Yeah.
It'll be okay. And I'll get it when I get it. But no. But that, I mean, it would be nice if they could just. If they could do emergency jobs like that. So. Did y'all have some sort of vision on a dashboard? I mean, I'm just trying to get I've showed you what I'd like to see.
Yeah.
You know, and I just don't
Yeah.
know what y'all.
No, I just like what you and I talked about earlier for like the bid, because now bid job, T&M, and day rate are in there. Like if there weren't
So
any
what's the-
standards or like
Yeah.
anything like that. But it doesn't sound like.
There are some day rate standards for people. I mean.
But customer based or department based or company based.
Department,
So set it up that way.
which they all are except for Kodiak. And I haven't, yeah, and it's just a matter of her updating the preferences, which takes her forever, and I don't want to even ask her. Cause it's,
I can do it. I found out it's just it's so quirky. I have to like
yeah,
back into it.
I haven't wanted to ask you. But it, I mean, as long as it's set up in the customer preferred rate, and as long as you have that setting showing up when you create a job,
Mhm.
then if you just type in the day rate item, I mean, it would be nice if you set up a job and it was day rate, and you knew it was day rate, and that customer gets charged this amount per day. Sometimes like Kodiak is 1650 in Oklahoma and 1750 in West Texas.
Mhm.
So you've got two different areas.
Yeah.
Same customer. That scenario. But when you went and updated the sales order, it just threw in your day rate and how many
Mhm.
there.
Which it
You
should
know.
would do that because you put the division in.
I'm just saying the whole thing of updating it. What's the purpose of showing a bid day rate T&M if
Doesn't do anything.
it's still a manual process in the end?
Right. I agree.
I mean.
Yeah.
And then, they can't just tell me it's a bid and then not give me anything. If they're gonna tell me it's a bid, then there's gotta be something that tells them you can't create this job without attaching a document, maybe, a quote or a PO or contract or whatever. Because I'll never get the information if they don't send it to me.
Yeah.
Now, who's gonna do that? Because I'm always chasing the sales guy
Mhm.
and Jason Conch, and it's like, what? Where's a quote? And then I'm always getting the wrong quote,
Yeah.
like I did with Conch and Sam.
Mhm.
I don't know. I'm just
No, I mean, I agree. It has to
thinking
be
all of the
something.
scenarios that go wrong.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah.
Um, when I get bid packages from like midstream, they send me the estimate. They'll send me the customer PO. Any other documents or anything they need. I have to open the job, and I have to go to sales order, I have to attach all those documents into the sales order. So I'm not searching for it later, and it's always there.
I wonder how that would work. Like attaching.
I don't know, because that's like a company file thing. I mean, all that stuff is basically saved in the company file.
That'd be like a maybe a Jason question because I mean, really all that is it just gets in the files on the server. It literally has like uh, vendor attachments, customer attachments, PO attachments, SO I mean, they're not labeled that, but it's like
Mhm.
doc 3 and that and doc
Mhm.
3 I mean, just
I
like
mean, yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
It would be a question for Jason of like how we can. But I mean, again, if the hub is gonna be
If you want the hub to be UFS,
Send
then
it
you gotta
big.
be able to do all those functionalities.
right,
And
So you're not doing it in two places.
mhm.
I don't know how that would work. I mean, it might be something simple, but
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know.
I'm just, it's blue sky on my wish list, so
Well, that's
I
what I
won't
say. I'm
get
like,
anything.
I take you to like
Mhm.
add a button. He's like, well, I mean, could be. Well, I'm like, to add a button, like that's just not like, hey, let's add this
Yeah.
here.
choose your design.
Yeah.
drag and drop.
Do you want this pink?
Red,
Yeah.
blue, balloons,
Yeah.
stars. Oh,
You can see Corey's done.
He told me about that meeting. He was like, but they're gonna cancel, so I ain't gonna
did
no.
Huh?
Business this morning
What?
in the meeting.
Yeah. Yeah.
He was getting into some business. Trying to think. I want to talk about trucking. I don't know if there's any way this is trucking.
Yeah, I can. Not.
Well, that's not,
I just don't know enough about it to be able to.
so little. I mean,
It's just a small part of it.
It's on the phone.
hating the end.
I'm gonna stop this if y'all are okay with that. Yeah.
Yeah. Was just, I don't know if we want to even get into trucking at this, right at this point. I think the service. Fine.